So the mind allows only to think in one direction and not the other direction. So it divides the world into good and bad, day and night. If you look at it, the day doesn't turn into night in 1 second. It's always a fading thing, where the daylight is fading and then little by little it turns into night. And then the same thing. It's more like a same entity. Then you can say the absence of light turns into night. So there is no set things like there is Ram and there is Ravan. In Ram also there is a degree of Ravan, and in the Ravan also there is degree of Ram. There is no absolute certainties of anything. But mind gets set only on certain things and it makes it the truth. And the truth is, like, you look at a girl and you never think that she's gonna get old. And all that captures you is the beauty and the age of the girl. But same thing, eating ice cream never makes you think that you're gonna get a heart attack. So all these things, this wisdom is lacking at the mind level. So whenever the things happen in life, we divide it into sukh and dukh. So, oh, these are the good things of life. And when bad things happen, we suffer. Because we believed that sukh is all there is in life. And all of a sudden when dukh comes, we hate it. Because sukh, already we had enjoyed it so much. So mind, because it believes that sukh is associated with the good events in the life that we know becomes the source of pleasures for us. That we expect the life to make us happy. And when that happens, when it does not make you happy, it becomes the source of suffering. So there are words, there is rag, which is attachment, and there is virag, vairagya. So you want to walk away from sansar, because sansar has burnt you so much. But there is a third condition Mahavir put down, is vitrag, that you stay in the sansar, but look at it, not as a source of pleasure and not as a source of suffering either. If you are not looking for pleasure, it cannot give you suffering either. How does it matter, whatever is going on? To reach to that sthita prajna state, you need to nullify all the concepts that you are holding at the mind level. So in meditation, that's what we do. We try to nullify the concepts. We have fixed concepts, right? So, okay, say we want to walk away from the mind and we want to reach to a steady zone as a witness. Now, things which does not allow us to remain in a witness state is joys of life. That, okay, it gets attracted. Oh, we had such a good time at the party, or we had such a good time. I miss this food. I want to go on vacations. All these things are pleasures of life. Then your mind is living the sthita prajna state, steady state, and go into that. And also, if there is suffering going on, you also keep on thinking of suffering. So for you, the sukh and dukh are reality. You believe in sansar. And that's why you cannot stay in the steady state. But if you want to, and if you're trying to go deeper into the meditations, you have to start realizing as you go deeper that all the thoughts, whether they are going towards sukh or towards going dukh, they all are your own creations. They are created from your own mental energy. Whatever label you give, it doesn't matter. But it's your same single energy that is being utilized to create the thoughts for sukh or the dukh. So then what's the point? It's like your right hand and the left hand. You make them fight. You're trying to walk away from sukh, away from dukh, and you want towards the sukh, this and that. But it's your own energy that you are utilizing. So when you realize the futility of this, that's when you start becoming steady in your own consciousness. Because when both hands fight, who wins? Either way, you are a loser, because you one or the other. So your energy is spent. So when there is a sukh, a lot of people get attached to the sukh and they start enjoying, and they forget the sthita prajna state that is within us. And when they forget, they keep enjoying the sukh and nothing else, as if that's all there is going to be. But the life is a cycle. Sukh and dukh, they always follow each other. We are not prepared for it. So when the dukh comes, we really get hurt big time because we never expected it to happen. So these cycles is what makes you go back and forth. We are bouncing around in a wild river. So if you want to come out of it, what are the good things on the spiritual path? All of a sudden, the definitions of our day-to-day life keeps changing, starts changing, because if you really think about it, that you had a good time with your friends, or enjoying certain foods or drinks or whatever, is that good for you on a spiritual path or not? If it's gonna hold you towards sansar, it's not. Then sukh is actually dukh. Because if you really want to experience the totality, if you want to experience the inner silence which is present, which is unconditional silence, you don't need anything else to be happy. That kind of silence, if it is here, the sukh which can actually pull you towards sansar, can be dukh. And on the contrary, if you do have dukh can be a sukh, because it makes you realize that this is what sansar is. The reality of the sansar surfaces when somebody stabs you, or somebody cheats you, or somebody gets angry on you, somebody says bad things about you, or whatever things happen, right? And if you are not prepared for it, what it does, it gives you a shock. Along with the shock, there used to be suffering. But if you're already on a spiritual path, it turns out to be good. Because now you realize that your faith in the sansar is start receding. Now you realize that there is something else which is far better than the sansar itself. Sansar is not just the physical, what's going on in your mind. Your mind, thoughts, ideas, beliefs, all those have no value. If my ideas are fixed, that okay, such and such person can be loved and such persons have to be hated, then I cannot love the people that I hate. So hatred is mine. If I say that such and such, until you drop every single concepts of your mind, you cannot rise to the totality. With the totality is where there are no thoughts, no mind at all. Totally thoughtless state. But we are holding on to our ideas. We hate someone and we keep on hating for a whole life. Until that happens, we're living in a secluded, small mind. And at that level, we are in sansar, you cannot have peace. Until the heart becomes big enough to include every single person, every single creature, every single season, all the sukhs and all the dukhs, all that can be patched up into one single entity, we can be free. But by holding on to the ideas, we suffer. So if you are on a spiritual path, the dukh actually becomes sukh. And that's what happens. Like, I don't know if you, there was a documentary in the Netflix, Ramdas was his name. He was an American guy. He had a guru, Indian guru, and he learned a lot from him, but he just could not come out of his body consciousness. So until he actually, and he used to travel all over the world, give a lot of lectures, made tons of money, he did all those things, but he had a problem. He just couldn't leave the body consciousness. So he's ultimately one day, he had a major stroke. And major stroke, he couldn't be moved. He had millions of dollars of property in the Hawaii, and he had to hire a lot of people to help him, take him around and things like that. And that's when he realized what Guru was saying, that body is not you. Body and the mind belongs to the sansar. And sansar is fragile. Anything can happen anytime. But until it happens, you always believe that this is the way it is. So your beliefs of your mind are so strong that it does not let you go out. So he says that I don't wish anybody to get a stroke, but the grace that came upon me from the stroke, I wish everybody gets it. So it's a question of learning from our life. So friends are not good teachers, enemies are. because they show the naked reality of samsara. This is what it is. Everybody is walking around with their fixed ideas in their head, and this is all around. There is a pandemic. The whole world is suffering with the ego levels where they have ideas and they have beliefs, and you can't argue with that. You cannot change their ideas. You cannot change their belief. So one time there was like a shade, in the town, was nicely dressed up, had a nice cap and everything. He just was walking around in the town, and all of a sudden he bumps into a kid, like 10, 12-year-old kid. And he says, "Oh shit, your topi, your hat is good. Can you give it to me?" He got up and he says, "Well, what kind of question is that? It's mine." And so he was so puzzled. He says, "Why would anybody just ask for a cap out of a sudden, right?" So he keeps going, and suddenly he sees Mullah Nasruddin. So Mullah Nasruddin says, "Mullah, can you believe this? Like, I just bumped into a kid and the kid asked my beautiful hat that I'm wearing." So Mullah Nasruddin says, "Yeah, so what's wrong with that? Give it to him." He was expecting him to concur with him. He says, "No, that makes sense. You should not be asked." All of a sudden, Mullah Nasruddin also in a different field. So it's a way how everybody's mind behaves in so many different ways. And you can't control them. Only you can control your own mind.
You become beggars.
Yeah, but they are, yeah.
You become beggars with
But more than that, beggars is the pattern of thoughts can be so different from a person to person, right? So one time I had told you, on one of the friends I told you, so it was a great painter, right? He had a lot of art. He could paint everything so realistic. So one time he painted a spider's web on one of the corners. And he just wanted to see how the cleaning lady reacts to that. So the cleaning lady comes in and she spent 30 minutes trying to clean that spider web. He tried this, he tried this. He says, "Spider web won't get rid of me. I can't get rid of it. Let me just work harder and harder and harder." She spent 30 minutes and this guy was just watching. He was so happy on his own artwork that, oh, it's such a beautiful artwork that it fooled her so much. So then he got so excited and he told his wife. He says, "Can you believe that? That I drew the spider's web in that corner and our cleaning lady just believed it so much and kept on cleaning for 30 minutes. You know what the wife says? "You can't find cleaning lady like that. Our cleaning lady is the best." Have you seen any cleaning lady spending 30 minutes cleaning something? So minds are so different. And that's why we have frictions. So, and yet we keep on looking for support from others. And people who believe in our ideologies become our friends. And people who don't agree with our ideologies, either they don't remain friends or they turn into our enemies. And on the basis of ideologies, the whole world is suffering. Look how many wars happen in the name of religions. Just ideologies. And people make it their own, which is not theirs to begin with. Jainism or Hinduism or Christianity was started 5,000 years ago. People today are walking around saying it's my religion. How? What did you do for it? Nothing. All you are doing, following, but it says my religion. So this is the trick of the mind. It creates your fake identity. And in that identity, we have made a home. It's like a house of cards. And one of these days, this house of cards might be gone. And yet we don't wake up. So to live in the mind level is the life of darkness. Asatoma sadgamaya. Tamsoma jyotirgamaya. So jyoti is the awareness which is pure, pristine. Because every single thing that is collected, the awareness was utilized to get everything into it. If you were Down syndrome or mentally retarded from the childhood, who can teach you what you are? And yet these are some of the happiest people. So the happiness, the joy is built into it, built into us. It's our innate nature. I had written in experiences only about Rohan. The guy has a Down syndrome. He's 32-year-old, acts like 9, 10-year-old kid. But I tell you, he comes in, he makes everybody so happy. There is a joy in the office, and he loves his mom and dad and all that. For them, it's like a treasure. So, world is going in a different direction, and it's fine. That's how the world is. It's nothing but bead. It's like 10,000 plus some nikala na. 10,000 people going on a yatra, you know. Some people join in the village and then they go on and then they depart and they go on again. But this crowd keeps on going. The crowd mentality is to connect at the mind level, and the connection at the mind level are not secure. Our tendency to seek friends and encouragement and convincing, all these things, we need some support in our own thinking. It's all futile. And at some point, it's all gonna disappear. There was one Buddhist monk named Chong Tsu. He happened in Japan, and he always was walking around with a skull in his skull. So one time he was passing by a graveyard, and he bumped into that skull. And he says, "Oh, I'm sorry." He says, "Why are you saying sorry to the skull?" He says, No, this graveyard belongs to some very rich, noble people. When they were alive, they had a big egos, you know, and they were really thinking that they were top of the line. But I want to remind myself that at the end of the day, I'm going to be this, the skull. Skull, you can toss it around like a football. Nobody can come back and fight with me. So to keep my ego down, I always walk around with the skull. So all this respect that we're looking for, friendship that we're looking for, encouragement that we're looking for, agreeing with our ideas and beliefs, and you know, that's like one hand washes the other. We are living horizontal life at the mind level. So meditation is the art of rising above that, and just by witnessing it, all this commotion can end, and beyond the mind comes the true silence. The silence, the inner silence, is different than the silence in this room. It's different. This is a physical silence. And what we're talking about is the silence from your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs. It's not a simple journey. It's a very difficult journey because it's your ideas, it's your beliefs that you have to realize that they don't have any value. And you've been holding on to this for a long time, and yet they need to be given up. If you don't give up, the kingdom of heaven, which is beyond the mind, cannot be yours. So regular meditation is very important, because during the daytime we are bombarded with all these interactions happening all the time, and mind likes to remain busy. And this, if that not enough, people look for more ways to remain busy. As if the job is not busy enough, they want to come home and go to the shows and this show and movies and this and that. They want to keep themselves busy, and then iPhones are there and WhatsApps are there, and that everything is so it's like we never see the silence in between. We are continuously keeping your mind occupied, and when the mind remains occupied, the direction is set. Mind cannot look backwards. So that's why we need to learn to meditate, so that we can go within, and the silence that surfaces is always there. In silence, all the things happen in silence. The whole world exists in silence, but we fail to see it. The emptiness is within everybody. All this world that is created is 99.999149000. It's all empty. So all time and space are created by just interactions with these molecules, which themselves are empty. So there is nothing but emptiness, but we don't see it. And our eyes are not trained for it. So we need to, all our sense organs were created to go outwards. Originally it was just the mind. Mind wanted to see it, so it asked for the eye, it asked for the taste, for the tongue, for the hearing, all those things were created. These are extension of the mind. So real sense organ is not the sense organs. Your eyes, ears, nose, touch, smell, taste. These are all only vehicles. they carry the information to your mind. But the mind is what is filled with desires. Desire to experience the world, desire to achieve things in the life, this and that. So ultimate seat is the mind itself. And as long as the mind exists, if the body starts going away, it asks for another body. Asking for body at the mind level, it gives us the new life. New life comes in, old life goes in, and we keep on going forever in these cycles of samsara. Samsara means to something that is mobile, something that moves is called samsara. So, of course, the physical world moves, but our body moves, our thoughts move, so whatever moves is samsara. And what is beyond is immobile. Why? Because it's infinite. Its total steadiness and the peace is found inside, which is the true inner silence. And in this silence, we can be there because no one can take it away from here. The mind holds on to all these objects and people and situations, that images, and we call it ours, will be taken away at the time of death. And of course, we're gonna go again to look for them. We keep on building all these things. If life does not take it away, the death takes it away. So whatever is gonna go, might as well give it up right now. And you don't have to physically give up because there is no way to physically walk away. You go from here to Himalayas, you create another samsara. So it's the mind level which is the tougher part. That's why meditation is the toughest religion. All the religions are simple. Okay, you do this, this and this, you're a good Jain or a good Hindu, you're a good Muslim. That's fine, this is all you need. These are shortcuts we have found to think that we are doing dharma. Dharma is different than religion. Dharma is tough. There are people who will do it, like Mahavir and Buddha. They did it. But instead of doing what they did, we created gods out of them. And we keep on worshipping them. But that shows our inability or unwillingness to take the path of spirituality. Okay? So much for today.